Hey guys, Scott here. I posted a clip on Twitter of me fighting Rolana from Shadow of the Erdtree. The whole point was I wanted to show people that she does have openings to attack despite seemingly never-ending attacking. She does actually have plenty of opportunities even for a very big slow weapon. I was using a colossal weapon, which is like the slowest class of weapon in the game, and I wanted to show that you can still pretty safely hit her, and that was the whole point. But more importantly, the comments in that video, there were a lot of people, A, saying I was cheating, A, that I was like max level or like massively over leveled or something like that, or I had like 20 of this Scadutree upgrades or something like that. So I had five or six upgrade level at that current time. But the whole secret is I just know how to build defenses in this game, and I'm going to show you how to do that on every build with basically no investment really quick. Very simple video. These are things you can do on every single build in the entire game. And we'll just go from there. The first and probably most important thing that's so universal, there is a putrid avatar right here at this Erdtree. It's north of Fort Faroth. They drop an item called the Opaline Hardtear. This is something that you can mix into your flask, your Wondrous Physic, and these things last for 3 minutes, which is going to be pretty much the entire duration of a boss fight. This alone buffs your defenses by 15%. So for the entire boss fight, you're looking at 15% damage reduction, or the vast majority of the boss fight, 15% damage reduction across the board while completely naked. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Boiled Crab. If you've never done Bogart's questline, he is the wonderful lad that is at the Boiled Prawn Shack. If you do his questline a little bit, then he moves right here, and he's just chilling there right now. You can kill him and take his bell bearing, and so you don't have to go to see him every time. But he sells an infinite amount of boiled crab, which increase your defenses by, I believe, 20%. So with that flask and with the crab, I'm now at 32% damage reduction while completely naked. Now, on top of that, for one talisman slot, we're going to equip the Dragoncrest Greatshield Talisman. Real quick, this is found in the Erdtree. You go to the drainage channel site of Grace. You basically go down some roots and you jump down on a church. It's really easy to get. You don't even have to fight anything, although there's some prawn guide there. So you pick that up, equip that. Now with all these, I have 45% damage reduction, again, while completely naked. I'm not wearing any armor whatsoever, and I'm basically reducing all physical damage by half, and I even have some magical negation as well. So that is one way you can build defenses with zero investment at all other than a single talisman slot. Now, if you go a little bit further than that, you can have some faith on your character. And here's the thing, you only need 15 faith, and 15 faith is a really good amount of faith to have on basically every build, because that allows you to cast Flame Grant Me Strength, which gives you 20% more physical damage, and fire damage too if you use that, which is useful for almost every build unless you're like a pure caster. But more importantly, it allows you to cast Golden Vow if you put in your flask something to give you 10 more faith. So for my setup here, because I don't want to have a lot of faith on this particular setup that I'm currently using, I have the Faith Not Crystal tier, which again lasts 3 minutes, just like the Opaline Hardtear. That gives me 10 additional faith, so my 15 faith becomes 25 faith, and 25 faith is the requirement for casting Golden Vow. If you really want to be lazy, you can only have like 10 faith, and then slap on a talisman that increases your faith by 5. I don't want to gear swap that much, so you can do that if you really don't want to put anything into faith whatsoever. But if you do have 15 faith, you just drink your flask, that gives you plus 10. So now we've got the flask that's giving us the 15 from the Opaline Hardtear. We've got our boiled crab, and then we have our Dragoncrest Greatshield Talisman on. And finally, before you enter the boss fog, you can cast a Golden Vow. And now we're looking at 51% damage reduction, again, while completely naked. This is completely naked. And the thing is, bosses mostly do physical damage. Some bosses have some split levels of damage and things like that. Like, Rolana, for example, will do mostly physical, but she'll have some magic and some fire on some of her attacks. So sometimes you do want defense against those. And for that, it's great. There is an elemental talisman for every single damage type. They're the Drake talisman. So for Rolana, if you want some magic damage protection, you slap on this thing. Suddenly you're at 40% resistance there. Fire, lightning. There's even a Pearl Drake that has generic for all of them if you're not sure what you're going to encounter. The point is, these talismans are incredibly beneficial to building up your defenses, and there's no reason to not use these. They're easily accessible, and they work on basically every build in the game. Now, you might have to drop a damage talisman for that, but if your whole problem is you're dying too quickly, and you have the solution that you can equip with no real cost to your character, then why are you not doing it? That's the whole point. Most importantly, I think, from all of this, we're talking about Shadow of the Erdtree here. So I haven't even begun talking about the actual Scadutree Fragment system yet, which is very, very, very important in terms of your defenses for this DLC. For example, completely naked with 0 buffs at 14 upgrade levels, I have 52% damage reduction. That is massive. So do not neglect these Scadutree blessings. They are damn near required. It's pretty much the new progression system. It would be like as if you rushed Melania at level 1 with an unupgraded weapon. That's the same thing if you're trying to rush the last boss with like 1 or 2 upgrade levels of your Scadutree Fragments. You're basically just doing a challenge run. The game is balanced around you finding these things, and the whole point of that is to reward you for exploring the map. So if you just bum rush the story and fight the 3 required bosses, you're going to have a really bad time because you're going to have a very low upgrade level, just as like you would have a really bad time if you rushed Radagun with an unupgraded weapon at level 1. That's the exact same thing here, so you can't disregard your upgrade levels. But now, if we take all that into the DLC, and I do the exact same thing I've been doing, I put on that talisman, I have the Dragoncrest Greatshield Talisman, I cast my Golden Vow, and I use my Boiled Crab. Again, these are things that pretty much every single build with just 10 faith can have with no investment at all. With all of these things, while I'm naked, I have 71% damage reduction. Again, while naked, if I actually throw on a really nice set of armor or something like that now, my damage negation is going to go closer to probably 81 to 82%. We're looking at 81% physical damage reduction now. So you can start to see how easy it is to actually build defenses, and you just have to dedicate a little bit to it. There's no reason you shouldn't have Boiled Crab at the beginning of every single fight. You just have to buy some. They're really cheap. They're like 600 runes each. There's no reason you shouldn't have the Opaline Hardtear, and it's just a flat 15% damage reduction. Honestly, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to cast Golden Vow at the start of every fight. These are things that you can do with very little investment to your character, and you will be taking a fraction of the damage that you would normally be taking. When you're at endgame scenarios like this, you also definitely need to learn to not use like Source Heals. Anything that increases your damage taken is very, very dangerous in the DLC here. So things like the Talisman of All Crucibles are going to very heavily nuke your defenses. Any of the Source Heals that you might still be equipping, although you shouldn't because these are mostly for early game, will also significantly kill your defenses as well. So you don't want to be doing anything that's going to be negating your defenses, and there are plenty of things you can do to buff your defenses to extremely, extremely high amounts. But it does require you to do a little bit of min-maxing here that every build can do and actually explore and get your Scadutree Fragments, because that is going to be the secret to taking way less damage. All of this crumbles at the final boss, who is still complete horseshit and is really funny because people have been complaining so much about the difficulty of the DLC and they haven't even gotten to the last boss yet. And oh man, is that motherfucker overtuned, so good luck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully that helps. See you next time.